Welcome back. I hope you tried it. Did you try this? Did you try to solve this? Maybe if you use your...
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you share your solution on here, on the on the chat? Just copy and just the line your solution. That's a very good thing, but now we are doing this string interpolation. If you remember, if you see now my profile, person info, I can call it this instead of person info. It's all about Asabe's person info, and I use some kind of string interpolation, injecting data. Yeah. So the value of 2, 3 is, and the value. Yes, Mark, great. That's what I'm expecting. Yeah. So let's do it together. Great. So actually what you should do is console.log. If you remember, I just used some kind of like, I copy this and put it inside a backtick. Yeah. But as you can see, this is not a dynamic data. So what you should put it is actually, you put it inside inside a curly bracket, and then you put also this inside a curly bracket, and 6. And I forgot to also add the so this should be star. This should be star. I'm just messing around. I'm not right. The way I'm doing it is not right. As you can see, the value of 6 is equal to 6. Of course, yes. But what I want to get is something like that. Even to do this in a more elegant way. So what I should do is actually, I can separate this and no star. Instead, we use also somehow human readable. That's X is a symbol for the value of 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Wow, that's great. But we can even make it more a dynamic. Let A is equal to 2 and let B is equal to 3. And now I can change this to A and I can change this to B and result, and let result, and I can put it 2 times 3, and I put it the value of, I call it this one product instead of that, product, and then the product will come product. It says that A is already declared somewhere because we have been doing this, so we don't need A here because I used it there. Do you agree with this result? Do you like the code? What do you think? Even now, if I change this to Tierney and Tierney, and even here, instead of that like that, A times B, sorry. As you can see, you change it. It's easy to change because now we are injecting dynamic data. And now the second line could be actually, let me just do this and let exponential or I don't know, expo A the power of B is the value of this. I can say this will be just this sign and it's going to be AXP and I will get the value of to the power of 3 is 8, but actually to the power of 10. So I can just put this and I should get this one. What do you think? Are you okay with this result? Are you convinced? Yeah? 2 to the power of 3, oh yeah, it says 2 to the power of 3. Yes, right. So that's not confusing. So now I have to maybe statically write it, this, then what I can do is at least 10. Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah, to the power of 10. Sometimes if you are using the variable ones, then you can just write it there. But if you are going to use it many times, it's better to declare it at once. I think now you know how to, is it easy? Yeah, now you know how to use a string interpolation, not the old way of concatenation. It's concatenation, it's a modern way and latest way of concatenation. Even you can compare, things. What does that mean? Compare things. Okay, console.log. That we can say A is less than B. Let's see. A is less than B. Have you seen? A is less than B. True. A less than B. So actually you can write some logic inside. You can write JavaScript code. So if you write this $sign followed by these 2 curly brackets, you can write JavaScript code inside this. I think now it's time to move on. Now let's talk about another data type. What's coming? Numbers. What is numbers? Numbers could be, but before I move on, you should put it next to each other. There shouldn't be space, okay? It should be next to each other. Maybe that's the problem. So data, now the data type we are going to talk about is numbers. What numbers do you know? Integers. Integers are 0, negative numbers, and positive numbers, and also rational numbers like fractions, decimals. All real numbers are numbers in JavaScript. Okay, so let's num1 is equal to 2, and let num2 is equal to 3, and let sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Is it easy? So this is simple arithmetic. So if we have numbers, we can do the arithmetic operation. Arithmetic operations. So what are these? I think everybody know our arithmetic operations. Addition, subtraction, division. Where is the division sign here? I don't know. Whatever, division, addition, subtraction, division, and actually most of the time multiplication and division. And now we will have also this modulus. And in addition, we may also use this, the exponential. Okay, great. So whenever you want to subtract, you just subtract num2 or num1 minus num2. Let's multiply. You just multiply num1 times num2 or whatsoever you want. Since it's repetition, I go faster division. You can divide two numbers, num2 by num1. So you should get something. Okay, so I have to check someone's problem. I got some message, so let's see what it exactly is. Okay, because yes, I downloaded it on desktop. Yeah, okay. So who could like to debug this? Who would like to debug this?
I had the same problem at the beginning also. And actually, it's pretty straightforward. The problem is, I don't know why, but you have to use the right cut. There is two types of cut. You know, you have a straight, like vertical cut, and then you have a cut that goes a bit on the side. So if you change the cut, go to the one that goes a bit on the side, then you will see that it will show the dollar and the curly bracket, you know, in different colors. So I think the problem is just, I don't know why, it's kind of strange that it makes a difference, at least on my Mac. I have a MacBook Pro. I don't know if it's happened, if it's the same somewhere else. So in that sense, you can see it straight on the, yeah. I think I had exactly the same problem. It didn't work at first. It was just printing the string as is. But by changing, if you look at your keyboard, you have at least 3 different types of code. Just use the right one. And then I think the compiler will understand what to do, or the compiler or interpreter.
Okay. So, but what is the problem here?
It was that. It's fine now.
The problem is different here. Why? The problem I can see that 76 and 78, it's not the way I was doing.
No, I was just trying to make the dollar sign work, but it's working now since I changed that.
Yes. So what you should do, I am using a backtick. So maybe some of you do not know where to get this backtick. If you are using $ in curly brackets, it's not the normal concatenation string. So it should be this, the backticks, yeah? The backticks. But in this case, we just see normal single quotation. Yeah, that was the problem. So this should be changed to, change it to backtick. In my case, yeah.
We can't see your screen. It's stuck on the, or it's on the image, or I'm just
you don't see this?
I see the image, but I didn't see your typing.
Oh, okay. No, you don't have to see my type. I'm focusing on this one. Yeah. So it is just you have to change this single quote to a backtick. That's the problem. So if you see my code, it looks like backtick. So it should be a backtick. Okay, great. And now let's get back to, but now you see my screens, right? Do you see my screen? Great. Now let's move on. That is the second is, the next is remainder, how we find a remainder of some division. For instance, if you divide 3 by 2, of course we get 1. So num2 modulus num1. So we should get console.log and remainder. Just, did you understand the concept of this modulus remainder concept? Yeah, last time also we went through. Did you understand modulus? So if you understand the concept of modulus, I want you to tell me what is the remainder when you divide 7 by 4? What's the result when you divide 7 by 4?
3.
3, but you don't have to think about that. What you should do is actually control.log and just I told you 7 and modulus 4, and it should give me 3. Yeah, great. I think these are the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, and exponentiation or exponential equation. So let's do that. Let's exponent of something, for instance, num2 and do. I mean, you have to have 2 stars. Oh no, where is the 2 stars? And num 1. So this means 3 to the power of 2. If I change the order, it will be to the power of 3. So, but why? Identifier x, okay. I declared it somewhere here, so it's crying. I have a bug here, 105. You go 105 and you fix it. Yeah, ex. Now, this kind of giving variable name is not good. It doesn't say anything, right? Yeah, so exponential for the time. Sorry for my fancy pronunciation of this word. Sometimes I get hard time to pronounce this word properly. I don't know. But I hope you got what I meant. That's the most important thing. 9, great. Do you think we're done with the arithmetic things? Yeah, we should be. And it's straightforward and easy. This is just so easy. Shall we move on? Yeah?
Yes.
Great. And now next is Booleans. The data type, Booleans. Booleans actually are true or false values. But how can we get true or false? So we have to have some kind of assumptions, or we have to have some kind of statement, right? For instance, if I say, are you enjoying this lesson? Yeah, if I say, are you enjoying this lesson? So if you are enjoying, you may say, yes, that's equivalent to true. If not, it is going to be no, and it's equivalent to false. Okay, is it raining? So let's just let, is raining outside? At least in my place notes, false. Are you married? Is married. If you are married, true. So we just, the value we get is actually this. This here, let is light on. Yes, I turned the light on here, so. Is the class over? Tell me, is the class over? Oh, I need the Boolean value for this. Is class over? I'm waiting
False.
for your false. I am just giving you some very simple example just to make the concept clear. Okay, but you can also, because we have to learn for 4 hours, right? If time is less than, for instance, somehow, if time is less than, for instance, I put time here. Let time. How much are we going to learn for? 4 hours. So if, so time is less than, no, less than 4 hour, console.log is class over. As you can see, now it check false. But after maybe 45 minutes, but I think it should be not less than, it should be equal to, and now let's say 3. Sorry for confusing. I used this two equal sign. Two equal signs are actually to compare. This is to assign. We call this assignment operator. We were talking about these arithmetic operators, addition operator, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, exponential, and then now, and we've been also talking about this assignment operator. Now, equivalent operator. So we have 3. Is 3 equal to 4? No, false. So the class is not yet over. But if it is 4, the class should be over. That's true. Did you get it? So we can get also data, true or false value, by comparing things. Yeah, we can compare things. Okay, now since we are console.log, I'm going to ask you, is 2 greater than 1? Of course, yes. Console.log, is 2 less than 1? Yes, of course. Console.log, is 2 equivalent with 1? False. Of course, this console.log 2 is equal to 2. Of course, this is true. But how about if I change this? Console.log 2 is equal to 2. What does, oh no, JavaScript is so crazy. Even we can use 3 equal signs to show some equivalence. Okay. Now, for instance, if I change this, these are also true, but how about console.log? How about this? What am I doing now here? If these two things are equivalent, yes, they are equivalent. So now I want to tell you the difference between 3 equal signs and 2 equal signs. If you are using 2, that means you are checking equivalence. Equivalence is not equality, right? If 2 things are equivalent, they are not exactly the same, but they are equivalent in some way. But if you are using 3 equal signs, that means 2 things are exactly the same in any way. In any form or shape, they are exactly the same. Did you understand the statement I used now? I have to be really sure. Just say something. So that's the difference between those two. So if you are using this, that means this value and this value should be exactly the same in data type and in value. And it should be exactly the same in any form and shape. But this means equivalent. So this is 2 and this is also 2. The value is 2, but the data type is a string. So they are equivalent. But these are exactly the same. Okay, let's go. Console.log 2 is exactly, is it true or false? Now, as you can see, it is false. I want you to tell me why this is false. By the way, I gave you the answer. Why I'm asking you is just to know if you are with me.
Well, it's false because one is a number and the other is a string, I think.
Yes, that's true. So that means they are not exactly the same. They are at least different in data type. So if we use the 3 equal sign, it should be exactly the same in any form. Yeah, great. So at the same time, do you know what we learned? Comparison operators. That's great. So we have covered Boolean data types and really good. So now let's see undefined. Undefined. So undefined means something which is not yet defined. It's like, it's just empty. So undefined is a variable which doesn't have. So let city, and I just declared a variable city. Did I talk about which city I live? No, right? I didn't, but I declare a value. So type of console, type of city. No, city. As you can see, it becomes undefined. So if you declare a variable and if you don't assign it, it will be undefined. How about if I say SPO? A string, of course, this is a string data type. So now we learned, or we can also put undefined value like this. It's also possible to put undefined value like this. Great. So you learn about undefined here. Null. Let value null. Null is also like empty value. It doesn't have anything. Console.let null. Not null, actually, value. But just first we have to check the type of, right? Type of null. Usually null is a kind of object type. So it's a, what am I doing here? Type of value. Yeah, it's the type, if you check the null itself is object. I don't have any kind of explanation for this, to be honest. But what you should see, what you should know is there's a null kind of data type, but whenever you check the null type itself also, it gives you an object. But if you remember, do you remember the words we declare at the top words? And if you check this also, because it's an array, we found it, if you remember, type of words, and we got actually object. Yeah, arrays are object. So I think we saw the major data types. Let me check what we have covered so far. String, numbers, booleans, undefined, null, and also object, because this is an object. I think this is enough for data types. Now let's move on to the other lessons. Arrays. So actually you saw arrays. I think let's make it somehow. Have you ever been in a shop? Who hasn't been in a shop? Hasn't been in a shop?
Not me.
Oh yeah, that's true. So everybody. So let's do some analogy. Have you seen this thing? Actually, our words are like in a collection of some bag, shopping bag. You can just consider as a shopping bag. Array is like a shopping bag. You just, when you get into the shop, you just put different things to your shopping cart. So you put a collection of items, products. But in our case, actually, now let's create an array. I call it, for instance, numbers. For instance, this is how we create an empty array. Empty array. Console.log numbers. Have you seen it's empty? It doesn't have anything. I can also check console the length. It's the same as the way we check a string. So numbers and what is the length? That means how many data, how many items do we have? 0, but let's maybe add 0 there, 1 there, 3 there, 4. Now, as you can see, we have data, yeah? So it's not anymore empty. It's not anymore empty, but to create an empty, you just put these 2 square brackets to create an empty array. If you want to have value, you put value. It's not an empty now. So how many do I have? 4. But for instance, if I am interested to get one of the item, for instance, if I want to get this one, I use index. Actually, this is the 0 index. 1, 2, 3. So console.log numbers, and you can slice out the value by using index. So I think I put it here in a very elegant way. I saw somewhere index, or just somewhere I have seen it, like some, yeah. Have you seen, for instance, even though this is also a string, but it is actually organized in an index. So this is at the 0 index, 1, 2, yeah. It goes up to the end. This is the last index. Great. Okay, now if I want to get out this from the array, numbers. So what do I do here? Tell me. 0, 1. So I should get 1. Okay, now you tell me. How about if I want to get out from the arrays? How about if I want to get this value? Tell me. Now it's your turn. Two. Great. 0, 1, 2. How about if I want to get console.log numbers, the last index? If I want to get the last value, I use the last index. Tell me 0, 1, 2, 3. But it maybe now, as you can see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if the length of the array is very long, how do I know the last index? How can I count it? So to calculate the last index, we can use let last index is equal to numbers dot length minus 1. Because if we start from 0, yeah, if we start from, if we count starting from 0, the last index should be less than the length by 1, right? Because we start from 0. Yeah, is it clear? Did you understand this statement, this expression? Numbers dot length. So we count this, but since we usually start from 0, so we have to remove 1. So this is then you console.log and numbers. Now last index, you inject last index. Yeah. Have you seen we sliced out? It's 9. How about if I increase this value, 10, 11? It doesn't matter whatsoever. Now the last value is 200 and it's sliced out because my code is dynamic. It works like crazy. Great. Now we know how to extract out values from arrays. Now let's learn how to modify the value. I want to change this value to maybe, I want this to start from 1. So to change actually numbers, and then I have to slice out, no, I have to change this. I want to change the value of 0 to 1. So actually 0, because this is at the 0 index, and I want to change it to maybe whatever. I can change it to 100. Who cares? So console.log numbers. Have you seen? Did I manage to modify? What we had actually, it was starting from 0, but now it starts from 100. So I modify the data. Now I want you to modify 3. Instead of 3, I want you to change to this one to 30 or 300. How do we do? Tell me. Numbers, you should target it by the index, and the index is 0, 1, 2. So I pass 2, and I told you to change it to maybe to 30 or 300, whatever. Console.log. Now, numbers, you have to check if it's modified or not. As you can see, it's modified. Okay, now I want you to modify the last, this one, from 200 to maybe 20 or 2 or maybe 2000. It's easy. I want someone to come to the mic and tell me. Help me out. What you do, I want you to modify this to 100, to maybe 2 or to 20 or 2000. So use the last index, numbers, last index, what? Last index, and then the value. What value do you want it to be? Let's make it smaller value or whatever. Our role is just to change, to modify it. Numbers. Have you seen? We managed to modify this. Great. This is how an array works. And we saw numbers. Now let's do another. Okay, const. Usually whenever I create arrays, I use the const instead of let, because I think I don't like to change the name. I don't like to change the name, but you can modify it actually. It's an array, it's an object. You are not changing this, you are not reassigning it, but you can modify it. So it's possible to modify it. Now const shopping cart. Wow. What are you expecting in this shopping cart? Oh, everybody's silent. Why? Is it getting too much? Or are you tired? I need some. What are you going to put in a shopping cart? That's so easy. Tell me. Console.log. Let's see. What do we have in the shopping cart? Oh, nothing. Oh, yeah. Someone is interested in coffee. Yes, that's true. Yes, for coffee. Great. What else? Maybe you may have
candy.
Or maybe honey, or it could be anything, milk, or maybe meat, or maybe some vegetable, or fruit, or whatsoever. Now we are populating, we're in a hurry to just put everything to our shopping basket, maybe tea. It's crazy. You can put as much as you want to your shopping basket. Have you seen? Now we just put strings. Oh, now I changed my mind. Instead of honey, I want to change it to sugar. Okay, tell me, how can I change that honey to a sugar? Oh, wow. Let's imagine we're somewhere and let's change this honey to sugar. Oh, what, you know? Oh yeah, thank you, someone there. Shopping cart. And where is it? 0, 1, 2. Oh, sorry, honey, you're about to be changed by sugar. Sugar. And now let's see the result. Console.log. And then I changed and just printing out. And if you see, now we have sugar. And now I want you to change the last T. Instead of tea, maybe shall we change it to something? Maybe ice cream or whatever, or potato or tomato or cabbage, whatever. Let's change this one, the last item. So chocolate, yeah, great. So then, but tell me, how can I change this tea to a chocolate? It's easy. In using JavaScript is not. You don't have to move around the shop. You just put some index and you change it and done. The same technique I told you. Of course, you can do it manually. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The 6 console dot, no, I mean number, not shopping cart, and then 6, and then we change it to a chocolate whatsoever, and then console.log and shopping cart, because we're running out of time. I'm a bit fast now. Chocolate, have you seen it? So yes, but we should actually use such kind of things. It's very good to use maybe last index, because the reason why I'm writing it like this, because I have used last index at the top, shopping cart.length and -1, and now I have to use here the last index. What is that? Thanks. Great. Chocolate. And it's changed, right? Very dynamic. Great. Oh yeah, I think now, how about if I want to add something to my shopping cart, to the code? Actually, we have different method. Push, shift, and shift. Push, shift, and shift, pop. Yeah, but I think I changed my mind. No sweet. And then I like to remove my chocolate. How? Let's do it. Shopping cart, pop. And then let's see now. Console.log shopping cart. Wow, it has been removed. Now we are about to be free from sweets. And I think now I'm going so crazy. That's because of too much coffee. Let's remove also coffee from the shopping cart. No coffee after this, okay? No coffee. Okay, have you seen it? So we use actually shift to remove from the beginning. If you want to remove something from the beginning, you use shift. If you want to remove something from the other end, you use pop. So shopping and then shift, just shift. Now if you check console.log and shopping cart, and sorry, coffee is gone. Are you following me, or am I just going nuts by myself? Yes, sad for coffee. Great. Now, actually, how about if we want to add something, you know? Now we have removed, we removed the coffee, we removed also, let's add something more healthy, okay? And from the other side, I can add from the other side, from this side, from the avocado side, I can add shopping cart, and then I push. Maybe what do I like to push? Maybe more, let's go more vegan or vegetarian, maybe some tomato we don't have in the list. So let's check console.log, shopping cart. By now we should have tomato by this side. Yeah, great. What would you use pop and shift for practically? As you can see now, we are doing actually practical use. Whenever you want to remove something from this side, it could be a to-do list. Now we are practicing more on the console, but at some point, if I ask you to develop some to-do list, or maybe not taking up, so some kind of thing, so to remove items. So it's very, very useful for real. Actually, the examples are real life. So this is what you do. You shift to remove from the very beginning. Yeah, you have some list. So instead of removing from the bottom, you remove from the top. So sometimes you want to remove from the bottom or from the top. Yeah, that is how it works. So let's go to, I'm sorry, guys. Now I push, so you can push items to your shopping cart. Now, maybe you want also to add from the top. I think in the side of candy, maybe I can add something, shopping cart, and shift. And shift is actually to add something from the beginning. And shift, something I removed before. We changed our mind. Let's add back the coffee back. Coffee, it's impossible without coffee. Coffee is now back. Console.log, shopping cart. Whenever you want to add from the beginning, you use and shift. Or maybe you can add something else instead of coffee. For instance, you may do add anything from the beginning. It's just whatever. Have you seen? It's just add something from the beginning. Did I push, shift, and shift pop? Yes, these are the most common. Now, actually, splice. A splice is a very good method, and you can use it to delete or to whatever, actually. So you can use it to modify. So splice, actually, it takes a number of items. It has 3 parameters. How many? And I think I'm forgetting splice. Splice, W3 School has very good way of explanation. The splice method adds, removes item 2 from an array and returns the removed items. This method changed the original. As you can see, index, the index here, and how many, and then actually after that, the item. Yeah, actually the others are actually, after this is optional, the new item to be added to the array. So let me show you different way. Okay, so as you, yeah, the other is optional. The third parameter is optional, but these are index how many. For instance, I want to remove, and I want to also change first this one, coffee instead of that, coffee. I want to remove sugar. Sugar is not healthy, okay? So let's remove it. Who could tell me, how can I remove sugar? Waiting for your answer. Okay, this is how you do. Shopping cart, slice, not slice, sorry. Slice. Okay, so you should, our plan is to remove this one. So candy is at 0. No, I think this one, the last one. Coffee is at 0, 1, 2. So I should 2, then index 2. How many items do I want to remove from here onward? From here onward, only one item. So just one, that is the sugar. Yeah, it's removed. So if I check now, console.log shopping cart. Oh yeah, we have removed the sugar, but I think we should have removed also candy, right? Candy is also sweet. We're trying to make ourselves free from sweet, yeah? How about if we just remove candy and sugar together? How can we modify this code to remove both candy and sugar together?
Change it to splice 1, 2.
Great. Because we want to remove 2. But this should be 1 because it should start from here. Yeah, 0, 1. So starting from here, how many items? 2 items, this and this. Now, as you can see, we are free from sweet. Does it make sense, guys? Wow, if you understand what we've been doing so far, yes, it's not going to be more difficult than this, I tell you. And this is the most relevant part of JavaScript. This is the data structure, okay? Yes, but for everyone, I strongly recommend you to repeat this video. Am I recording it or not? Yes, it's recorded, yeah? But anyway, I hope it's recorded, but I strongly recommend just to go through this step. After this, all things are relevant and important to repeat and practice and go to the exercise and do. Okay, we are done with arrays. Let's move on to loops. Are you ready? Or do you have any question for this? I will come to conditionals later, or maybe we may not have time for that. May I move on to loops? Are you ready?
Yes.
Great, great. So what are loops? Actually, programmers are so lazy because they like to do things in a more simple way. They don't like to do things many times. Instead, they automate it. For instance, sending greetings to all of my students. Now I have 15 students. I can send them one after another. It's easy. But how about if I have 100,000 students? It's difficult, right? Maybe if I just ask you to write console.log 100 times, and by saying hello world, if I ask you to write this 100 times, so you should write this. I know there's copy paste, and even with copy paste, it will be forever almost. 100 times is easy. You can still write it, but still it takes some time. So actually, the purpose of loops is to automate such kind of boring jobs. Instead, you use different loops to automate repetitive things. To send the same message or the same email to some audience. Yeah, So loops are very, very powerful. So for instance, if I want to just, have you seen my beautiful, this one, as you can see, this card, for instance, if I want to loop through each item, I will come to that. But before that, I will show you the formula or the skeleton, how you write a loop. So first you need a for loop. There are different for loops actually. For, regular for off, for in, while, do while loop. But today we may have only time for a couple of them. Let's do for loop. You need the keyword for is reserved word, so you don't use it for anything else, okay? So for, and we need this and curly bracket. It's a formula or something you should remember, okay? First we have to have initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. Yeah, I will come. I change this to a code. Now I'm just writing a kind of pseudo code. For instance, if I am asking you to write from 0 to 10, right? Okay. Tell me, what is your, if I ask you to write from 0 to 10, what is your initial? Tell me your initial. Use on a piece of paper, if I ask you to write from 0 to 10, what's your initial? Tell me.
0.
0. And what's your final?
10.
And so you start from 0, and when you reach at 10, you should stop, right? Yeah, so we have a condition. Our initial, as she said, let my initial I, it could be 0. And I have to turn this off, okay? Because it's a loop, it will run and my code will break. So, and then I should be less than 10. And I have to increment every time, plus. That means I have to increment every time. So now I turn this. So there is something wrong and my code might be break. Oh yeah, this should be in a state of semicolon. Okay, so the reason why I'm commenting out, because when you are writing a for loop, it may go console.log I. Now let's see what we have. Have you seen? It starts from 0 and it stops at 9. Why it stopped at 9? Actually, loop is like you tell your loop to do something similar. But instead of just printing now, I may ask you just hello world. Now if I just hello world, I do it in just how many? So I just do it 101. That means before it reaches to 101, it stops at 100. But we started from 0. We can start from 1 if we want. So as you can see, I said hello world 100 times. This is so easy, but if you were writing it manually, this will be never ending. How about if I want you to print out something like this? For instance, if I ask you 1 times 1 is equal to 1, something value from this. So you can say actually someone more. What you should do actually, console.log. Do you remember this, the string interpolation? So I can inject I times I and equal to I times I. Hello world, we don't need hello world. Oh yeah, this looks good, right? Oh yeah. And even you can do this starting from 0 to, do you think 100 by 100 gives you 10,000? Yes, that's true. This is the power of loops. So once you remember how to write this structure, and it is easy to write. How about if we reverse this the other way? If we wanted to start from 100 in the other way, for instance, let me just first comment out. I want to start from 100 and go all the way down to 0. And I should be greater than or equal to 0. And I want to decrease or decrement every time. And let me just turn on this. Have you seen? I just comment out this, and also let me just the value a bit shorter. If I put it to 3, you will have a chance to notice it. Have you seen? We flip the order now. Maybe even 3 is too small, maybe 5. So this is decrement and this is increment. And this is also too big number, right? Let's just go up to just 10. And because changing this will not be that much difficult for you. Are you following me? Are you counting
Yes.
Are you counting the minutes, or is it longer or shorter than you expect? Because if you enjoy something, it will be really, really short. But if it's really tiring or boring, it could be like, yeah. So I think 4 hours, learning for 4 hours, it's not easy. We should maybe stop here because you will feel tired and the time is over. Today was the first day we used Zoom, and some people had a hard time to join, but I think next week it will be okay. Yes, yeah. Next week, I have to take you to this one, this. Before next week, what you should do, read what we have covered so far. And how do you do? Just reading this material step by step. It may have typo, it may have grammar mistakes. I made it once, I didn't check it back, but I believe that will not be a very big deal if it has a grammar mistake or a typo or whatsoever. Yeah, so for instance, this the different kind of variables. We didn't go exhaustively here, but here you get it. The camel case. You don't use numbers. Instead, you can use dollar or underscore. You can use number at the end. All those, the convention, you get it here. And then again, small exercise to improve your skill, you know. Unless you do exercise, unless you solve problems, you will not be sure if you really know it or not. Everything we did related to arrays, modifying, yeah, just declaring arrays, access, modifying. Yeah, everything is here. I'm really happy about this material because it's changed many people's life because it's really, really good material. It's easy to read, it is short and to the point, and also real life problems, not just such random something which you cannot relate with, but everything you get is related because I developed this from experience. So it's not a material, just yeah. So the different string methods, I just showed you split. I didn't talk about substring, for instance, substring and subster, to lowercase we saw, to uppercase. But there is more information here. Trim, how to clean the trailing spaces from the beginning or the end. But because I have to lead you where you get informations, and that's all about checking data types and casting. For instance, today I show you how to check type of. Yeah, this is how you check. But I didn't show you also casting. Actually, even you can change the type. Yeah, this is the changing data type or casting, they call it. So data types, then strings. Please do all the string methods because we covered. Booleans, we have covered. As you can see, the same example, is light on, is raining, hungry, is married, whatsoever. And then followed by some simple exercise. Yes, and then operators, actually. The arithmetic operators we have covered, right? We did. And then you should practice arithmetic operators, that's what. And then maybe something we didn't see, logical operators, we will come to that later. Comparison operators, we have covered it. Yeah, we use just the less than, the greater than, less than, greater than, or equal to, less than, or equal to, all those kind of things. Conditionals, we didn't talk about it. That is for next week. And we will talk about ternary operators next week. Conditionals, as you can see, we have here. But actually what we covered is loops. Loops, just only this one. Next week we'll talk about while loop, do while loop, for loop, for off, and for in. And we have covered also arrays. Yeah, it's very important to go through arrays. More on arrays is related to like the data structure. For instance, I didn't talk about concat, but to be honest, I will come to array part again because it's very important. But we have covered some of the topics related to. Yeah, so next week, what we will talk about, actually, let's do what next week topics. I have seen the time, but you should know what next week we learn conditionals. We will finish loops. We use loops and arrays all over again because it goes together, and function. This is all what we do. Yeah, so maybe it's good to check in advance, and the best way to check it from here or W3 School. And maybe, and I think I have also mentioned that 30 days of JavaScript is also the bigger version of this. Yeah, that's all what I have for today. I think, yeah, so I should stop the recording.